Welcome to Happily Ever After, the podcast where we dive into life's big stories. Everything from breakups and breakdowns to buried secrets and triumphant happy endings. It's the stuff that makes us human. I'm your host, Hannah Harvey, author of How to Divorce Sober. I'm a mentor, award-winning blogger, yoga instructor, and in a past life, a fully qualified civil engineer. You can find me at hannahharvey.uk or on Instagram at hannahharveyuk. I absolutely love to hear from you, so please get in touch with your stories, thoughts, or questions. But for now, get cozy, settle in, and let's dive into your next chapter of Happily Ever After. Hello and welcome to Happily Ever After. It's me, Hannah. And today I'd like to talk about what to do on the days when you feel terrible. I've had one of these recently, so I thought I'd share my thoughts on this because I saw someone had put, I can't even remember who it was, but somebody sent it to me and it said, I don't want to work with this person because she says, I want you to tell me what to do. And I was like, interesting, because there are certain times in my life, like mental health days, quote unquote, where I need someone to tell me what to do, because otherwise I'm going to go into that downward spiral. So yeah, I think there are, when you're in crisis, things like going through a divorce, grief, fucking hormones, let's get that out of there. I'm pretty sure, I'm certain I'm in perimenopause now. So there are days when I just feel terrible and I have to revert back to almost like a checklist of these are the things that I need to do today, so that I end the day better than I started. So I'm going to share that with you because if it helps you in the way it helps me, then that will be marvelous, because there are days when you just need to be told what to do, because if you don't, you could really downward spiral and you don't want tomorrow to be as bad as today. So that's the thought on that. So before I get to this, I want to talk you through my spring events. Because it's just around the corner. I went to my lovely girls at Saks in Gosforth, and I'm just showing on the video, but I've got cherry pop on my nails. When I went in on Tuesday, I was having this bad day and I was like, I've got no crack. I just need you to look after me. But we went into spring vibes, picked the nail choice purely on the name. But so we're into cherry pop because it's nearly spring and I'm almost ready to kind of re-emerge. I've been stepping out of the house a little bit more. But I think it's really important that we don't sprint out of the gates. So if we use like the whole planting seeds analogy, if you planted a pumpkin seed, you wouldn't expect to get a pumpkin tomorrow. Like, we're working with magic. We want to manifest really cool, interesting things into our lives. But it's not magic bean stuff. Like, it needs to be manageable. Manageable magic, we'll call it. So, the energy of spring is like, the element of spring is wood. So that is about, if you put wood on the fire, it makes the fire bigger. So it is this energy of like doing and getting and being more. But, it's okay to do it in a slower way than you might in summer. So plant the seeds, water the seeds, let them germinate and then sprout. And then that means when summer comes around, we're really ready for the fruit to develop and to ripen. So if you're anything like me, you want everything to happen yesterday. So all of this is really quite annoying. Like, you just want to go, right, I want this thing and I want it to happen tomorrow. But it is like this for a reason. Like, you don't want to bite off more than you can chew. and we don't want to burn ourselves out. So that's why this energy of spring, we're going to do more, be more, all of that kind of stuff, be out in the world more, but trying to be patient with it and not being like, oh, it didn't happen yesterday, therefore it's not going to happen. So yeah, one of the big lessons to learn is around being patient at this time of year, which is, I hate that, but we can do it together. I've got a whole bunch of spring events coming up, and they're all about this idea of sowing the seeds, but giving ourselves time and space to make our dreams a reality in a much more manageable way. So manageable magic, manageable manifesting. And yeah, I know it's kind of not as sexy as maybe things like The Secret will make out, and you can get stuff tomorrow if you really, really want. But I would always say be careful what you wish for, having been on the receiving end of manifesting things very quickly. They can be things that you totally didn't expect, that really, like, I don't know, are out there, you know. I'm thinking of the ending of my marriage as an example. I really wanted certain things to happen. I was really pushing for it. And then an explosion happened, because I couldn't achieve any of those things while I was in my marriage. So, you know, we can take our time with all of this stuff over the spring period, and it's okay if it's a bit slower than we necessarily think we want. That's what I'm trying to say. And also, by slowing down the process, it gives your body and your nervous system time to kind of catch up a little bit. So really what happens is, by slowing down, you speed up the process overall, and you end up with what you want. Yay. Lots of lovely things coming up, and starting on the 10th of March, you can join me on my spring workshop. So this is an online event. It's 7 till 8, and I'm going to take you through a ritual that will allow you to kind of narrow down exactly what it is you want to focus on in spring. Because remember, you can have anything that you want in the world, literally, but I just recommend you don't try and do it all at once, because it's just super overwhelming. And when we do try and do everything at once, you end up achieving nothing. So the idea of this ritual is we'll break down the goals and the dreams into something really specific for, you know, we're talking April, May into June. And it will make manifesting over this spring season so much more manageable and enjoyable. So I'd love you to join me for that. That's on the 10th of March. And then on the 14th of March, I'm hosting, this is like my favorite. I'm hosting a vision boarding retreat with my friend Lou, and it's just so fun. It's like sleepover in the 90s vibes. We're all like ripping and cutting, and we've all got magazines, and we're dreaming together. Like, how beautiful is that? When do you ever get to spend time with a grown-up human dreaming and tapping into the things that you really want? It's beautiful. And then we're all there, and we can all support each other and be like, okay, let's make these things a reality. So I absolutely love these evenings. We start with a yoga class, which I lead. And it's basically like a cross between a guided meditation and movement, so that we really connect into what it is that you want. And if you've done the spring event, then you're already ahead, because you can use the stuff that you came up with and really connect into it, so that you can create your vision on the evening during the yoga. And then Lou guides us through turning these dreams into a vision board. I just love all the cutting and sticking, and I have found that since starting to use vision boards courtesy of Lou, I don't know what it is, but it's something about the holding the visual thing makes me more focused in terms of what I'm trying to achieve, but it also allows me to notice when it's happened. So the other day I was in an infinity pool in the lakes, looking out over the lakes, and I was like, oh my God, this was on my vision board last year and I'd totally forgotten. And I didn't even make it happen. Somebody else did. My boyfriend Dan took me away to the lakes and made it happen. So, yeah, love vision boards. I think they're so helpful for just adding that extra, especially if you're a visual person, adding that extra layer of this is what we're trying to achieve. Okay, so that's the 14th of March. Come and join us for that. We're doing it online as well as in person, so it's available to everyone. And then on the 21st of March, so this is spring equinox. My birthday is the 20th. Spring babies unite. And actually the 21st takes us into Aries. So it's like the cusp of Pisces and Aries, which is like dreamy stuff alongside that fiery energy of coming into spring. Exciting. So on the 21st, I hold my spring equinox ceremony, and this is where we go, right, universe. This is what I want to bring into the world in the next 3 months. And we send that clear signal to the universe and your psyche. This is embodying stuff so that the body understands it too, and the brain is like, right, okay, this is what we're doing. We're going to start spotting opportunities so we can make it real. So we're going to do that on the 21st, and we're just showing the universe that we mean business, and we're going to call in all these things over spring. So that evening will involve yoga and then a beach fire. So if you're in person, you can come to that, but you can also still do this online. You can join us live for the yoga, and then there's a pre-recorded bit where you can do the ritual of the fire ceremony at home on your own with me guiding you through it. That's the 21st of March. Love you to join for that. And then finally, my most popular course is back. It's called Venus Yoga. That starts on the 14th of March. And it is every Friday at 6 p.m. And you can do this online. You can do it in person. We do it at the Bound Bookshop in Whitley Bay. And you can also do it on demand. So half of the people who sign up for Venus Yoga, because it's a 6-week course, they might not be able to make it to all the classes in person or even online. So what they do is they get the recording and then do the recording when they can. And then you have a whole library of 6 yoga classes, so a full course, which you can do over and over again if you want to. That's yours to keep after the course is finished. So if you fancy that, please do come along. It's the embodiment of all of the planning that we're doing, all of the manifesting stuff, to keep creating that little bit of space and time for yourself to connect back in. And the container that I hold Venus Yoga in is love. So love for yourself, improving relationships, with yourself, with your kids, with your loved ones, your friends. That's the energy that I hold Venus Yoga in. And it's also on a Friday. So it's the perfect way to kind of come down from the week and settle into a more relaxed pace, ready for the weekend. So, if you're a mum, I'm not sure there's much of a difference between weekend and weeks, but it's always great to go into the weekend feeling more chilled. It's by no means a bad thing to go, we're changing the pace. Okay, so if you'd like to come to any of those events, either in person or online, or having the access to the recording to do on your own, in your own space and time, if you're not into the whole doing it live thing, just let me know. You can drop me a DM on Instagram if you've got that, which is at Hannah Harvey UK. or you can drop me an email, hannah@hannahharvey.uk, and just let me know. Come along, ask any questions that you want, Even if it's not this time, you can come to the next round of events that are coming up as well. All right. And of course, you can message me anytime. I love to hear from people who are listening to the podcast, just to hear what's resonating for you, and if there's anything you want me to talk about or any questions that you've got, drop me a message. Okay, so on to this week's topic, which is what to do when you're having a bad day, like a mental health day. So this is on the assumption that you can maybe take some time off and create some space for yourself to do it. But even if you're at work or you have children, you can still do all of these steps. Because obviously we don't always have the opportunity to go, I need a day off. I need to switch off. And sometimes having a day off can make it even worse. So work with these parameters and these ideas within kind of what is available for you during your bad day. And the whole idea is that we end the day better than we started, so that tomorrow can hopefully be slightly better. Okay, so the first thing I would say is compassion is completely key to all of this. And we're so flipping bad at being compassionate to ourselves. It's like it just doesn't compute. Like there's something that happened. I don't know if it's like a generational thing or what, but something happened where we're like, or basically mean to ourselves whenever we're not firing on all cylinders. So in theory, when I had my bad day on Tuesday, I had absolutely no reason to feel bad. I just had the most gorgeous weekend. Dan had taken me away for my birthday because this was the only weekend we were kind of child-free and fancy-free. So he'd taken me away to the lakes. We stayed at a gorgeous hotel. We ate amazing food. We had treatments. We used the spa. We went on beautiful walks. He found that infinity pool that I told you about, which is overlooking Thirlmere Reservoir. So I was ticking things off my vision board as well. But even so, got home, and when I woke up on Tuesday, I felt terrible. Like there wasn't any reason for it, and I could have beaten myself up for it and been like, how dare you feel anxious and sad when you've just had the most amazing weekend with somebody who loves you and takes care of you and wants to spoil you. But I didn't. Well, actually, no, that's not completely true, because part of my brain was totally being like, doing all of those things and being really mean to me. So it was like you almost have to compartmentalize that bit of your brain that's being horrible, and with the other bit of your brain be super compassionate and be like, oh, that's really sad that you feel like that. I'm going to look after you today. Instead of joining in and just being like, I'm going to beat myself up all day and treat myself badly. So while that one part is having that tantrum about how awful you are and what a waste of space and how hopeless your life is, these are all the things that were kind of coming up for me. It's fun. The other part of my brain was just holding space for it and being like, you're okay. You're okay. Do you know what I mean? So it's like you're looking after your body and your mind with compassion with that part of your brain, and just keep on reassuring yourself and loving yourself anyway. So one is compassion. It doesn't matter if you're the Queen of Sheba with all the things in the world, you're still being compassionate for what's going on. Like there is always a reason why you need to be compassionate for yourself. Like we all have stuff going on. Everything is relative. So just hold space, be kind. The second thing is, with this compartmentalized, compassionate part of the brain, treat the rest of your body and your soul and the tantruming bit of your mind like it's a little child or a pet in your care. So the main things you have to do for these things in our lives, like our pets and our children, is to walk them, give them some exercise, make sure they've had some sunshine on their faces, water them, so, really hydrate, feed them well, and rest them. So on Tuesday, I was like, I'm going to revert back to the things that Josie told me to do in, I think it's episode 18. It's like the 3 key things in life. Drink 3 litres of water, do your 10,000 steps, get 8 to 10 hours sleep. So ticking those 3 things off, I'm like, okay, this is good. I'm back onto an even keel of at least achieving those things, even though I don't feel good about anything else. So I went for a nice walk, made sure I got my steps up. I drank a lot of water. And then in terms of eating well, I find that sugar and caffeine don't really make me feel good. So I reduce my caffeine right down because it makes me feel quite anxious if I'm not careful. And sugar makes me feel terrible. Oh dear. And I'm having a bit of a battle with sugar at the moment where I'm definitely an addict, so this is something that I'm dealing with now. And it's like when I quit alcohol, I moved my addiction to sugar. So when I have a bad day, I'll turn to it. When I'm having a good day, I'll turn to it. And then I get into a bit of a downward spiral with it, where I haven't got an off switch again. So I kind of have to quit it. So that's where I'm at right now. And I'm reading this really good book called Good Sugar, Bad Sugar by Alan Carr. And if you, not the chatty man, the one who does the quitting smoking and drinking, Alan Carr, he also does it for bad sugars. So for me, it really works because I know I'm an all or nothing personality, and I just get on better if I quit things. So you don't have to quit, but I'm just saying on the days when you feel like shit, I'd cut out alcohol and I'd cut out sugar because both of those are depressants and they make you feel worse. So sitting and binging a load of sugar might make you feel better momentarily, but later on in the day, you'll probably feel worse because you've either eaten a whole packet of biscuits and then you feel guilty and greedy, or the sugars kick in and you have a massive sugar crash and you feel like shit because of that. Or both. That's fun too. So yeah, I cut those things out, drank lots of water, took myself for a walk, and I ate some really healthy food. Like, it's pretty easy stuff that doesn't take a lot of thinking about, but you can kind of tick it off and be like, well, at least I've done that. And then I'd say the third thing, after you have treated yourself with compassion and then treated yourself like a pet or a small child, the third thing I would say is do something really nice for yourself. How's that? Can you imagine being actually nice to ourselves when we feel bad? It's absolutely revolutionary. So as it happened, on that day, I already had my nails booked in. I hadn't been able to get in for quite some time, so they were all like raggy and I'd peeled off the gel, so like they were all just looking dreadful. So that was nice. I could go in and get my nails done, and I got my cherry pop. But I also had reflexology booked in for that day too. So once a month, I try and go in and see Nikki because she basically balances all my hormones and makes me feel like $1 million. So I'd highly recommend that if you're in the Northeast, go and see Nikki. And then Catherine does my nails. So yeah, because I had that booked in, I was already doing something nice for myself. But if I didn't have that booked in, I would have run myself a bath and I would have done a face mask or a hair mask or just something where I could rest for a little bit and feel nourished and cared for. So it's kind of like the maiden stuff. Like, what does that bit of you that we expect to turn up and be amazing and shine and playful and everybody to love, what does that bit of you need to feel just a bit looked after and cared for and important? Do something for that bit of you. No, makes me feel sad that we have this little tantruming bit of ourselves that's like, you don't care about me. We do really care, and do something nice for it. Okay, and number 4 is, after that, I just did easy tasks because I should have been working, but I just couldn't bring myself to do anything. So instead, it had just been half term. My house was a bomb site, so I turned to easy things that I could tick off that would make me feel like I've achieved something. I got all of the toys out of I've got like a studio, like yoga space at the front of the house. And in the holidays, that becomes the playroom. So I got all of the toys out of there, and then I put them in my daughter's room, managed to make everything squeeze in there. I don't know how we do it really. And just kind of got rid of some stuff as well. Like some old bath toys that were just, the squeezy things that end up just looking disgusting. So they've got mold inside. Got rid of all of those and put like some of her toys that could pass as bath toys in that basket instead, making a bit more space. So that felt like I'd really achieved something. Got rid of some clothes, got rid of some shoes. And it was all very low energy stuff, but it still made me feel better. And if you've heard me talk about this before, it's also considered day keeping. So whenever you tidy your space, this is kind of shaman stuff. Whenever you're clearing your space and tidying and cleaning, that's creating space for magic to then happen. So if you get rid of things from your house, that then creates a space for something good to come in. So in terms of like the ceremony and the ritual of tidying, it's a really beautiful thing to do for yourself when you feel like shit. So rather than what we normally do, which is tidy up when we've got people coming over, actually creating time to go, I'm just going to do this for myself, and afterwards I'll have a sense of achievement, then it's like a little beautiful thing we can do for ourselves. And while I was doing that, I was also listening to a book. So again, it's like looking to somebody else to tell me what to do. You might be listening to a novel, or you might be listening to a podcast. Hello, if you are. But you could also be listening to a self-help book and just going, I'm going to see if there's some wisdom here that I can use today, because the chances are that if you switch something on, it'll be the thing that you need to hear. But what I would say is I do avoid social media on days like this, because I'm already feeling anxious. I don't need to be triggered in any way. And with things like, the gram, God love it, and any of the other things, you're not necessarily in control of what's coming into your feed, and something could come in that isn't helpful. So I do avoid the socials when I feel like this. Okay, and then the last thing that I've got on my list is to meditate. And the way I did that was through walking, because I felt like I needed to move, and the act of moving meant that my brain didn't necessarily need to do anything, and I could concentrate on my breathing and mindfulness, noticing what's around me, that kind of thing. But, there are days when you do not want to go out. You don't want to be seen. You don't want to be around other people's energy. And that's completely fine and understandable. So if that is where you're at, I would say maybe do some gentle movement at home. It might just be some stretches. I've got a few recorded yoga classes for kind of slowing down. So if you would like access to them, just send me a message on Instagram and I'll send that over. you're more than welcome to have that kind of thing. Just like a little half-hour class of just gentle movement and breathing to help move any stagnant energy in your body out. That's the ideal. And then you could then move into meditation if it feels comfortable for you. So I've got the 7 Days of Calm Reset, which is on my Love Notes Substack. So that's hannahharveyuk.substack.com. And if you go into the meditation library, you'll find the reset. And day 1 is free for anyone. Anybody can use that whenever they want. And it's just a very simple 10-minute meditation that helps you to calm down the nervous system. So if you're feeling this kind of anxious fight or flight, go ahead and use that meditation. That's available for you whenever you want. And from there, if you do feel calm enough and you would like to, you can go into some gentle inquiry. Just keep connecting to your breath whilst kind of going, okay, what's going on? What do you need from me today? What would make you feel better? And it may be that you're conversing with the maiden part of your brain, you know, this childlike part of the brain that's having a bit of a wobbly. But I would say be very cautious, because you don't want to give that part of your brain too much space in case it starts to hijack everything and go back into a bit of a rant. Unless it feels productive to let the brain do that. And I would definitely say sit with your feelings and try and understand why. But sometimes it is just hormones. Like I say, I'm pretty sure my Tuesday one, because it was so out of character. I just finished, I was on like day 6 or something. So I just finished my period. I should in inverted commas, been feeling on top of the world and ready to really tackle all of the things that I want to do. And instead I had this huge dip. So that almost certainly has to be hormones. Although I hear now that there's all sorts of things going on with Venus and Aries and, you know, all these other things that we don't know what's really affecting us. So, yes. If you want to use meditation to help inquire as to what your body needs and wants, go ahead and do it. But if you feel yourself tipping into self-loathing and not having a very good time, then come back on out of that and revert back to some of the other things. Okay, so I hope that's been helpful. I'll revisit those. So number 1 is when you feel terrible, come back to compassion. Be super kind to yourself. And then with that bit of your brain that's holding space for the bit that's having a tantrum, treat yourself like you're a pet or a loved pet or child, and do the things that you would do for those today. So walking, watering, feeding, resting. 3, do something nice for yourself. What a novel idea. Do something nice for yourself when you feel like shit. 4, tick off a few easy tasks. If you're not sure what to do with yourself, just go tidy a drawer out or have a look in the garage and see if there's anything you can get rid of. Very simple things to create space in your environment to allow good things to come in. And 5, if you can't move and do your movement meditation, then do something quietly at home, and you've got access to all sorts of things through my Love Notes, which is hannahharveyuk.substack.com. And yeah, grab the Love Notes there. The reset. It's the 7 Days of Calm Reset. Day 1's free for everyone, so just go and have a little go at that. Okay, I'm off to the dentist now, so I shall bid you adieu, and yeah, let me know what you think. I love to hear from you, so please do reach out and let me know what I've missed. What else do you do on the days when you feel like shit so that the next day you feel better? Let me know. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today. All the details you need are in the show notes, so be sure to check those out. If you're enjoying the podcast, please do hit the subscribe button and leave a review. It really helps more people find the show. And if you know someone who'd love these stories, feel free to share it with them too. As you know, I love hearing from you, so please do reach out on Instagram @HannahHarveyUK or through my website, hannahharvey.uk.